Hey everyone, welcome back to Juggling Gym. Today I'm going to show you the real process for how I learned how to unicycle. The one caveat is that this is only part one of the video. Even though I learned how to unicycle, I still want to get a little bit better at it, so hopefully next week there'll be a part two. When I started filming this video, I had juggled for 1 hour before, 3 years ago, so I was basically a complete beginner. In the beginning, I really struggled just to get on the unicycle. But even once I got on, I really couldn't move forward. After a bit of practice, I was finally able to move forward on the unicycle. But it was super scary, and I felt like I was going to fall at any moment. But I kept pushing through the fear, and gradually I started to make it farther and farther. Eventually, I got a pretty decent run. But I was struggling to get that far again. Then I realized I needed to look up instead of looking at the ground. Something I heard in another YouTube video was to imagine how disorienting it would be to run while looking at the ground. The same goes for unicycling. Progress definitely wasn't immediate, but then I got a good run. I was pretty scared and I was clutching the fence the entire time, so I wanted to try to do it again, but just with one hand. I went out again later that day because I felt determined to get it. I had seen one YouTube video where they learned how to unicycle in 1 or 2 hours, and I was hoping that would be the same for me. Spoiler alert, that was definitely not the case for me, and I don't think it's the case for most people, but I still felt determined, and that's why I practiced 2 times that day. I started letting go of the fence for a little bit, and then there were a few brief moments where I wasn't touching the fence at all. On the second day, I found that I was consistently able to make it across while letting go briefly. I wanted to let go for longer, but I was having trouble just because it was scary. After a little bit of psyching myself up, I was able to let go for longer.
Yes!
Later that night, I was looking at the footage and I realized that the reason I fell was that I grabbed the handrail, and then that's when I started to lose my balance. So the next day, I wanted to try to unicycle without a handrail. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get enough momentum, so I went back to the bridge. Even though I felt excited at that particular moment, overall I was pretty frustrated that day because I wasn't progressing as much as I expected to or wanted to. The next day, I unicycled at my local juggling club. Special shout out to them because they're the people who loaned the unicycle to me in the first place. They also looked at my form and told me there wasn't anything in particular that I was doing wrong. I just needed to keep practicing. They also advised me not to start in the dead position where the pedals are at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock because this makes it really hard to get momentum. At Juggling Club, I was able to find 2 poles that I used to propel myself forward. Honestly, this was pretty scary at first because I had no handrail to grab onto if something went wrong. But eventually, I got my longest run yet. After that, my new goal was to stop tilting to the right. One problem I had was just letting go of the poles. Like I said before, it was scary. The rest of the day, I continued to struggle with building up momentum, and I wasn't able to get any longer runs. I wanted to practice again soon, but due to various scheduling issues, I wasn't able to practice for another week. I was back at Juggling Club, and my new goal was to move back and forth to build up momentum before launching myself forward. This was a tip I had seen in another YouTube video. At first, it didn't really work, but then I started to make some really good progress. It turns out that neither of these runs were my personal best, but I was feeling better about unicycling than ever before. This was my best practice session yet. The next day, I went out right before sunset because it was the only time I could go, and I really felt like I could get unicycling that day. I was doing better than ever, but I still kept falling after a few rotations, and I didn't know why. It was pretty frustrating, and I was about to go home. But I kept doing it, and then I got my best run ever. I was really excited about it. I wanted to do it again to make sure it wasn't a fluke. On day 7, I was a little disappointed because I was struggling to make it very far. My new idea was to practice starting with my left hand on the rail instead of my right hand. My idea was that because in juggling you have to practice everything on both sides, maybe the same thing applied for unicycling. At first it felt weird, but pretty soon I was able to make it across starting with my left hand. Overall, I felt like this improved my coordination on the unicycle, but I wasn't able to get any longer runs. At this point, I decided to take a temporary break from unicycling because I needed a new unicycle. I'm really grateful to the people who loaned me the unicycle, but it was too short for me and the seat kept shifting whenever I got on it, which made it obviously a little bit difficult to unicycle. But now I've moved, I have a new unicycle, and I'm ready to get back at it. So I'll see you soon with part 2 of the unicycling vlog. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. Keep juggling and have fun.
We're going to take a short break, so if you mind, please don't watch. Sorry, do watch, but be continued. Alright, we're back in 3. We're live in 3, 2, 1, action.